the topic again is we're going to talk about principles that guide our life. Okay. What does that mean to you when we talk about a principle guided life? How, what principles are important to you? Okay. And look at it from also not just your individual standpoint, but look at it from a cultural standpoint as well. Think about it from a cultural standpoint. So, does everybody understand what we mean when we say principles? Does everybody understand that word, principles? And we talked about this on Wednesday. We had some articles we read. We talked about it yesterday in some of our speaking session. Um,
You mean some embedded ideas for
well, okay, so
having a, I mean, successful or positive life?
yeah, yeah. If we think about, uh, okay, so let's look at the general definition, and I'm gonna paraphrase it. I don't know, Safe. I don't know where she's at. And Babuti has joined us. I don't know, Safe. I don't know. They say in China, we'll boot it out. I don't know. Um, so think about principle as a rule set or a set of guidelines on from our belief that guide us, right? So think about in terms of our the beliefs that guide us in life. Okay, if we talk about again, principles can be applied to our behavior, they can be applied to business, okay, to a business environment. They could be applied to, what's another example, Johnny and Reggiano? What's another example? They can be applied to science, right? There's principles associated with science, with physics, okay? Um, so principles are basically looked at in terms of a set of rules, okay? A rule, what we call rule set, okay? Um, I tend to, and for purposes of this discussion, I tend to think more in terms of our behavior because that's something that we all can relate to that. Uh, None of us, as far as I know, here right now are physicists. Okay, so I tend to think more in terms of principles, behavior, because all of us can probably relate to that. Okay, so again, it's a set of rules are basically how do I say that? A set of rules that we go by based on our beliefs. Okay. Okay. Does everybody get that? Nobody not get it?
Okay.
Okay. I know, Johnny. Do you have maybe a better way of explaining that, or somebody else have a better way? Maybe I don't know if that's the best explanation for it. Um, well, I'm looking at principles from a behavioral standpoint. Okay, so again, if somebody says, Rick, tell me what is a principled man or woman? What is what are a set of principles that people in general, because everyone's different and people have different principles, but there are a set of general principles that most people in society abide by, right? uh, to be honest with one another. Honesty, okay, can be looked at in terms of a principle, um, right? To be truthful when we're saying something to somebody, okay? Um, what's another one? To not cheat other people, okay? To stand by what you believe in, okay? Do you believe that you should help people? Hang on one second. Oh my god. If you think you should help people that need help, okay, people that are less fortunate than you, okay, have less resources than you, okay, these are values or principles that we can look at, okay. um, does that make sense to everybody? Let's go ahead. Let's begin because I'll give everybody will have the chance to speak about this and what they think are important. So let's begin. Maria, did you want to start?
Principal. Uh, oh,
Yeah.
I'm listening. First,
Oh
listen,
my
then.
God. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I don't have words.
Okay. Saif, did you want to say something? Mr. Saif.
Okay, what kind of principal you asking?
Well,
School
think
principal, business principal?
no, 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 no. Think in terms of behavioral or ethical. Ethical. Think in terms of uh, you know,
Behavior. I think behavior, male and female both are same. Both principal are same. I think.
okay.
And sometime I saw some men are very misbehave with women's because the pass of age male are very angry. So
Mhm,
I saw they are very rude our home everywhere, and women's are very some women, all women's are not very strict. Some women's are strict, but sometime male voice is very strict, so that's why some women's and girls are very uh, very fear of voice.
mhm,
I saw. I also saw my brother. Though yes, his voice is very strict behavior, very strict, and by the pass of age. So, and many times I saw some uncles. So some women they are very very some women they are very scared
mhm.
to men.
So
So I think so please so maybe some men's control for control behavior and voice.
okay. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting.
I
So
saw in Pakistan I don't have anywhere,
mhm.
don't have experience.
Well, it's interesting that we think about what you're saying. So you're saying that from what you've seen is we think in terms of respect. So let's just use the word respect for a second here. Um, so that there is not a from your perspective, you don't see equal respect for men and women. You see a different type of respect for women compared to men, right?
Hmm.
Is
Yes,
that the right way to say it?
I saw some men's behavior is change automatic
Uh-huh.
by the pass of age. They are very feel they are very angry. I know women also very angry, but male voice very heavy. So that's why women's are very scared.
Okay. Okay, that's a interesting. Okay, you're there. So I just added you. Okay. 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 Hang on one. Okay. So
Okay, I
yeah.
will be joined later. Group. Okay,
Okay.
wait.
Okay.
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 Thank you very much. Yes, I will come later. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead. So Maria gave us her perspective, and Tara's here. Hello, Tara. How are you? Okay. Let's go ahead and let's go to dear So Johnny, what did you want to say?
Uh, well, I think I already said that in the beginning. Yeah, we all have principles, we all have values and things that we believe, things that are important to us, belief that will inform actions, our actions. Um, we get those principles from different sources, sometimes from parents, sometimes from experience, sometimes from watching other people, sometimes by watching movies or reading a book. You know, when we see a story that give us some kind of morale, we learn that from that, especially if we like them. um, but what I can say that for a fact, not everybody share the same um, beliefs, the same principles. Even though when we consider that there are some core that there should be some core values. Even if you try to think very deeply, what is the most essential value for you? And if somebody asks you, is that something that all the people in the other side of the planet would also agree on? And it's not always yes. It's not always. Um, and unfortunately, I have seen that it's not also the majority. That's what I said before, that within the same group, yes, people have core values that they share among each other. Um, I try to think in something more general and try to not bring religion into the topic. But if we could speak a few seconds about religion, we can see that within a group they share some of these beliefs, some of these values, some principle. And if somebody else is from a different religion, they don't share these core values. That's what I say. If you belong to a certain group, that group, have some principles, and perhaps that's the reason they stay as a group. They identify themselves as belonging to that group. So that's what I think.
Well, when you say group, be a little bit more specific. Are you talking about a group that's defined by common interests, a group that's defined by ethnicity, a group? When you say group, what do you mean?
Yes,
Like,
generally, for example, yes, the same race or the same country, the same religion, or the same skin color, the same company, or the same age, or the same um, language, you know,
hmm okay,
gender.
hmm okay, okay. So you tend to, and I'm just trying to make sure I understand. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. So you're trying to say that. Give me a second here. I'm trying to add. It looks like Kurti has joined us. So hey, Kurti, how are you? Um,
I think the bottom
so
line
what
would
you're
be that
saying?
we all have different values. We all have different
Okay,
principles.
okay, okay. All right, good, good. So okay, so you don't see us sharing more in common in terms of principles. You think that we don't, the majority does not share common principles, right?
No, 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 no. Don't get me wrong. I do think that we share some values, some principles. What I was saying is that the principles that we may share may not necessarily be core values or essential values, because those essential values are different from people to people. For example,
Okay,
you may think that honesty is something that should be very essential, right? Either being honest with yourself or being honest with other people. But not everybody share that value. Not everybody believe the same thing, right? But
okay,
we could share values like empathy, right? Treat everybody in the same way that you would like to be treated, right? You and I could agree on that, but you may have other essential value that I may not agree. For example, you may not agree with the idea that treat people the way that they're treating you, right? The famous an eye for an eye. You may not believe that, and I could believe that, and that could be something essential, right?
okay,
So what I
okay,
say is that the things that we share are not necessarily essential, but I think there are things that we do share.
okay, okay. I'm trying to find a way to distinguish between so you said that empathy would be something you see that is would be something that most people would share in common regardless of
N-
country of origin or right.
Mhm. No, I'm trying to express is that I wouldn't use the word most people. I wouldn't say that. I would just say that we may find similarities in our beliefs. I wouldn't say that we share the same thing with most people because most people have different values. So I wouldn't appeal to the majority.
Okay. Hmm, hmm.
Humans are very much complicated and we are so much diverse that it's difficult to, just to put everything inside of one box and say, this is it, this is what we all share. It's very difficult to.
Okay.
We
Okay.
are so much complicated.
Okay. All right. So, anybody have a question for Johnny based on what he said? I mean, so you think that the majority does not share the most basic values or principles. They may be similar, but the majority it's driven by groups of people, right? That's what you're saying.
Right,
I'm just trying to find a way to simplify. Okay.
right.
So
Um,
I
go
have
ahead.
a
Okay.
question. In the correction, you posted in the site. So what principles are most important to you, Johnny?
Oh, sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Uh, it's under site discussion theme. What principles are most important to you, Johnny?
Yeah. What are the ones that are most important to you?
Oh wow, I have many. I don't know if we have time for that. Um, well, one thing that just one thing that I can think of from the top of my head is to be honest with myself, um, and not to deceive myself into believing something that I really don't believe. For example, a very simple example. A lot of people say that you need to think that you can do it. You can do it. Just say to yourself, I can. But if you really believe that you can't, because you have reasons, right, that you can't do it, you know your limitations. So I would say, no, I gotta be honest with myself. I can't do this. I don't have the tools. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the skills to do this. I can try, but you know, I have tried before. I know I can't. That is my limitation. That's it's not my talent, right? It's not something that I am good at, and I just can't. One of those things is uh, to sell something. I mean, to be a salesman, a salesperson, to sell just anything. I found out that when I had my first job, it was to sell cell phones. Um, I was being pushed to try to convince the customer that I have a very good product, and they would tell me that I need to come up with all sort of lies in order to engage the customer, and that was something that I couldn't do. So when people say no, just tell you to yourself that you can do it and you will be able to do it. Um, it that doesn't work for me.
So,
So, so being honest with yourself, right?
Being honest with myself, recognize my limitations, what I'm good at, what I'm bad at, and what kind of things I can improve. If there is room for improvement, that I shall try it, but recognize that I have limits and I can't just do anything in life. That's, to me, is
Okay.
not realistic.
Okay.
yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Good question. Good question. So, anybody else have a question for Johnny? Anybody else have a question for Johnny? No? Okay, thank you, Johnny. Let us go to Mr. Hiroki.
Oh,
You're up, okay?
okay. Yeah, the kind of principle, I learned in previous classes, principle can be applied to, more higher value or kind of a lot of different things, kind of basic things. So, in terms of the humans, think about humans, I think, Norman Chomsky said, human has a universal grammar, which means, in my interpretation of that logic, and human brain or human mind has a seed of creating, the sentence or, languages. So uh, that's why, all culture, all tribe, all people have their own words, their own languages, no matter what where you're living. And so, if base, uh, I don't know the linguistic thing, so but anyway, humans has emotions and feelings, and it's universal thing. I realized that after I attended this kind of online classes a lot because humans are humans. No matter what where they are living, the feeling and emotion are almost same actually, same reaction and the same same for the same how can I say something. So maybe the I think that's the principles of the morale or human world, you know, because it can be applied to the many, almost all cultures or people in the world, you know. So if the sad thing happened, human would cry, human would be shocked. If the happy thing happened, human would laugh or human would be happy. So such kind of things are basic principles uh, for humans or in this world. So we
Okay.
can use that basic principle to create a better world or a peaceful world. That's my answer for this question.
Well, what are most, I'm gonna ask you the same question. Okay, so what's the most important to you?
Mm, principle.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I said, maybe to uh, ah, like Jamie said in during we are chatting, Jamie said human first. His recognition of the world, human first, and then blah 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 other things follows. So
Okay.
I think that's important, for me as well.
So can I write down human first and blah blah blah?
Blah
I'll write
blah
that
blah.
down.
Other things is kind of which belong to the something belong to the thing, but
Okay.
originally we are all humans.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. So you're taking what I would call a top-down approach. So you're looking at the what we call the macro, right? The
Mhm,
big picture. Then you what would call we neck it down to,
mhm,
you
right.
know, divisions. Okay. Okay. Which is kind of the opposite of what Johnny was just saying, in a way. Right? I mean, Johnny, you're looking at groups, okay, and saying that from a group standpoint, we're divided into these groups. I don't know, divided may not be the right word, but there are groups of people, and because there are groups of people, it's challenging to find something that's common at the very top level. Hiroki just said we need to look at it from the top level, right? Find what's common, then go down, right? If that makes sense, what I just said, right?
Hmm. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't notice. No, I didn't
Yeah,
notice.
yeah.
Sorry.
Well, because okay. Anybody else have a question for Mr. Hiroki? And I'm going back and forth because I was looking at some reference material. Anybody else have a question based upon what he said? No? Okay. Thank you, Hiroki.
Yep.
Very interesting. And we'll have a chance to blah 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 some more. Okay.
Okay.
After I just want to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity, then we'll talk more about it. Okay, so Mr. Bijan, if you want to tell us what you think, please. Again, think in terms of what does a principle, centered or guided life mean to you, and talk specifically about the ones that matter most to you. Okay, Bijan,
Okay,
go ahead.
okay. Actually, I'm not sure I really understand the question, but um, I'm so tired to explain in good words, but I will try.
Okay,
Um, for me, the most important thing in my life mm, that to be effective, I mean, a very, very important principle is that to be effective in my life, I mean, for my family and my society, and for, I mean, for approaching to be an effective person, um, I have a principle to teach myself. I mean, every day, whenever I wake up, I try to learn something new. And sorry, can you hear me?
yeah, we hear you. We hear you. Yeah, we were losing somebody. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bijan. We hear you. Bijan, are you here? Can anybody else hear me?
Yes.
Maybe so. Okay, so it must be Bijan.
Yes.
Bijan, are you here, Mr. Bijan? Maybe his net went out or something. Yep, that's what happened. All right. So while we wait for him to come back, we'll go ahead and move on because I want to. Oh, okay. Maybe he's back. Wait, give me just a second. Okay, he's back. Bijan, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Bijan. Uh huh.
Excuse me. Uh, I I want to tell that I try to be effective for my family and for my society. And I mean, one of important principle in my life is that to learn something new every day whenever I wake up, and I mean,
Okay, your connection, Bijan. We're having some challenges with your connection, Bijan. Why don't we go ahead? I think Bijan's going to be having some problems for whatever reason. His connection is not cooperating. Why don't we go ahead and go to Babuti for now? And Bijan, if you can hear me, we'll go ahead. We'll go to Babuti, then we'll ask you to finish what you're saying when you come back and have a connection. Babuti, what would you like to say about the topic? Babuti? Oh my gosh, you guys are killing me. Okay. So, let me see. Tara, you will talk later. You guys. Bijan, are you back? Bijan? Okay, okay, try to finish, Bijan. Okay?
okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So I want to say that one of important principle for me in my life is that to be effective and I mean learn every day when I wake up. I want to learn something new, and so I mean I want to teach myself by reading, by experiencing, by have I mean good relationships with my family members, and in I mean interconnection with my colleagues and other people related with me in society, I mean. And something, the other thing that try to have good relationship with other people, and I mean try to not hurt or not suffering other people's in my relationship. This is actually one of something important principles for me.
Okay, so is that the most important? What would you say is are the most important principles? Is that one of the most important to not hurt other people?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Uh, let me ask you one question. How does that relate from your personal principles, the things that guide you in your personal relationships with people? How does that apply to the work environment when you're at work? Do you follow that same principle? Is it the same? Is it a little bit different? How,
Yes, you mean in my workplace, I try to have good relationship and help other people to progress in their job. I mean by teaching them and studying every day. I mean learning something new in I mean a skill, something like a skill, new skills, new ideas, and other. I mean by reading, by I mean reading really helped me to approach to these principles.
okay, okay, okay. Very interesting. So you gain additional knowledge that helps you.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay, good,
yes.
good.
I mean gaining knowledge, new knowledge, and help other people to learn something new. I mean, sharing my knowledge with other people, if I can, to be effective and help them to enjoy their life.
Okay,
I
good.
mean, in connection with communication with my family and in my workplace or other social atmospheres.
If you don't mind me asking, I have one more question for you. So Johnny brought up the point earlier, and we talked about this on Wednesday and Thursday. But our principles and values may come from different places, right? It comes from our family, maybe it comes from our religion, maybe it comes from observations of things around us. Okay, maybe it comes from just a innate feeling of what's right and what's wrong, etc., etc. So you have a daughter. She's a teenager. How, for her growing up, how important is it for you as her father that she learn these principles that you're talking about? Bijan, can you hear me? Okay, not cooperating. So let's go, Babuti. You're back.
Yeah, I'm here.
So why don't you tell us about what you think about the topic, and if you can answer as part of your response, answer the same question because you're also a father. So tell us how you think the principles you live by affect or influence your children.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the principles are so important in our life, and because they are those value are what you what we sh- what guide us, yeah, in order to conduct ourselves when we are among our group and when we are among other people. And that those values are very important because it's like a code. When we live among people, we should have a code that we should conduct ourselves following that code. Because if yeah, we trust when if you want to trust people, people should be honest, should be particularly honest. Yeah, if you can't trust anyone, but if you came up with some news and tell me, yeah, something happened, yeah, I can't trust you because you are not honest. Because and that is very difficult. Yeah, that is very difficult, and we don't have something that we measure our relationship between people, and it should be following that principle that we can measure the effort, the importance of that person. And yeah, there are something else because some person should be value. We value some other principle like being polite, courageous, showing empathy for other people, helping out people in need, avoiding looking down to other people, particularly when they are in disabled or can't do something else. We should take it as something that is normal, that might happen to everyone, to every one of us. And we shouldn't look at that person as someone who is less important than us because he has this disability. And those principles, when I go back to what John has said, uh, most of them are shared shared on the world stage. I mean, it is important to being honest is something that is valued wherever you go. Being polite is something that is valued wherever you go on the planet. If you are in the United States, if you are in Africa, if you are wherever you are, it is something that is important. Being courageous, all of these values are very important,
Hmm.
but the way we enforce them, the way we look at them, might differ, and the hierarchy when we took them in certain the order might be changing. In some places we might being courageous at the first place, and
Uh-huh.
honesty and the second place, and polite but another place we can value more being polite and honest than courageous. And yeah, the order might change, but the same value are those same values that we will see, or we will see people sharing around the world. And
I
those important those
Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, those principles are very, 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 very important. And as I said, without them, we are living in a place where we don't have any code. We act as we want, and we don't we are not acting following some principle that should guide our pace in a particular direction. And those values, as I said, are very important in our society, and we value them. And if I have to mm, pass down, or try to say to my son which one is very important, I will pick honesty. Being honest being honest is something when we find a lot of things at the same time. Don't lie. It is honesty. When you being at when you tell someone that you will be there, when you tell someone that you will help them, and all of these things might be under the umbrella of being honest. And I think honesty is the most important of them, and I will try to inculcate him, and I try to inculcate to be honest in every circumstances. In every circumstance. You know what? Why in certain country, people, even when they do something that is wrong, when they do something, when they come before the judge, sometimes they plead guilty because they know that they have done is something that is wrong, and they try to tell the judge, to tell justice, that I did something wrong, and I ask empathy, I ask mercy from you, because I know, yeah, I know, even if at that moment I've done it on purpose, because I thought it is important. But now I think those are some principles that we should value.
Okay, okay. Interesting, very interesting. I think Johnny, did you have something you're going to say?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
I know you were going to say something because I saw you getting ready. Huh?
Yeah.
I have something to say too after Johnny.
Okay, go ahead, Johnny. Then Tara.
Ladies
Go ahead,
first.
Johnny. Okay, Tara, you first.
Okay, thank you. This is always works. Okay, I must say I disagree.
It is
Honesty is
it is
not
a principle.
always, it's not always how I think to do.
Right.
Sometimes you have to lie. It is okay to be honest with yourself, but with others, it's not always okay.
Right. Well
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
You stole my
Thank
thunder.
you.
Well,
Yes,
give me, if you don't mind. Before you go,
In
Johnny.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a question for. Yeah, I have a question for you. Yeah,
Okay.
when can you tell me about any circumstance in which lying is something that might be accepted? One
Yeah,
situation. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. Actually, I'm always lying to my mother whenever she asks me, "Oh, Tara, did you pray today?" Yes, yes, I did, mommy. That makes her feel good. So,
Yeah.
did
So,
I answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
yeah,
also, yeah,
yeah.
okay. And for me, I'm always lying when I attend any interview for new jobs, because when I attend the interview, the interviewer uh, asking me a lot of questions about my job, and yeah, and show me this new job, what type of work you need to do. So I know that this is some work I don't know, but I always uh, lie that I know this job work, I know this work, and I can do it. So for getting the job, I always lie in the interview panel.
Oh my gosh, Kurti, you better never apply for a job with Dreams of Motion, okay? Because I will tell you right now, you will not be accepted, okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
See, I get
yes,
job. I
miss.
got job in foreign on the basis of that hundred. If 100% okay, 90% I say true, but 10% I will reply with false,
Okay,
means
okay,
lie,
okay.
because when I job.
Yeah, yeah. I just real quickly. I know that Tara, you're gonna want to go back and, but I would never, ever, ever, ever recommend lying in a job interview, ever. Okay,
Yeah.
because I will tell you right now that if I ever find somebody lying about a job interview, yeah, I don't care how good they are, how bad they are. It doesn't matter to me. Being truthful in a job interview is always important. So anyway, I just want to say
See,
that real
see,
fast. Okay.
see, in okay, see, in interview panel, we have lot of people, lot of person. They are going for interview. Only the vacancy is for one seat, and 100% come for the job. So
Uh,
how can we prove our myself better than 100? So
well,
that I have got
Yeah.
everything is good. So something I lie so I can get the job.
okay. Okay. We have a saying in English: the ends justify the means, right? So what you're saying is that because in order for you to get the job, it's necessary to lie, and the idea that you could get the job makes it okay. That's what you're saying. I I
Yeah.
I don't agree, but anyway. Let's go back to let's finish. I think Tara and Babuti were talking about something. So Tara, you were saying that, for example, you're giving the example. You're saying your mom asked you about praying, and you tell her that you do it, but you're not really doing it. So you're lying to your mother about that, right?
Yeah, it's like a white lie,
White
we
lie.
call
Okay.
it here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I do have a principle. I use it a lot, and uh, Abraham Lincoln once said, "When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad," and that's my religion. I think when it means when I lied to my mom, for example, today when she called me, when I said, "Yeah, I did, I prayed today," I feel good because my mom were happy. Uh,
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
doing I'm
Okay.
not doing live for a job interview or things like that. Just to
Okay.
if I say true to someone and I know it will hurt him a lot, I won't do it.
Okay. Okay. So Babuti, did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, in my principle, I think it is always bad to lie in every circumstances, But it is better to tell the other person the truth about what you are feeling. If you can do something, or you would something appear to you that is stressful or not worth doing it, yeah, you should tell other person, particularly when you are talking to your mom. Yeah, my mom, there is something that I can do because, and try to make her understand your point of view.
Oh,
Or yeah, and that is the
believe
more
me,
important.
believe me. Okay,
And I
believe
think,
me, it kills me that I'm lying to them, not just my mom, but I think they won't understand me. So, the best thing to do is a white lie. It will fix
yeah,
everything, and
you,
we will
but
all be
Tara,
happy. Why
but
not?
Tara, you know
It's
what?
yes.
But about white lie is something that might lead to bigger lie, and then it is always bad to do so, because when you are lying, and then you think it isn't important, because this isn't important and I'm lying about this, the door wasn't closed or something like that, because it hasn't any consequence. You end up by having yourself prepared to lie, and that you might once lie about something that is more important, and being untruthful toward other person. And I think it is a bad situation. It is important to be yourself and to stand by your principle, and to tell other people what do you stand for, and not lie about something, and not try to appear in situations that isn't true. Yeah, appearing to under a false face or false situation. It is always something that end up by you will end up by showing your reality, and that people will not trust you afterward. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
but I didn't made it. Oh, sorry, Rick, you can talk.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't made it my hobby. Well, I'm trying to understand them, but not in a direct way. So I have to be patient. Meanwhile, I have to do some white lie in order to not trouble or any problem. Be- So why not? I think I'm honest with myself. That's good, and
Okay.
I always trust my
Okay.
intuition. So my intuition is based on knowledge that I gained through years. So I do trust my intuition. When I feel good, I do good. I feel good. I know I did good. That's why. And I
Okay.
do bad things. I'm a human being after all. So
Okay. So let's go ahead. I think Johnny also had a question for you, Babuti. Johnny, did you want to say
Yeah.
something?
Okay.
Yes. Um, wanted to begin by saying that I also disagree that not all people are always polite in all the world, or they are always honest. They're all polite, and they're good. No, I haven't seen that. I have yet to see that in each and every country that everybody is polite. No, I would disagree with that. And also, I agree with Tara in disagreeing that being 100% honest all the time, no matter the circumstances, is something good. I don't think it is good in some circumstances. Let me give you one example. If you have a 5-year-old daughter who has cancer, is about to die, is suffering, and she asks you, Daddy, am I going to die? What are you going to do? Are you going to say yes, and you're going to die very painfully? Or are you going to say, no, dear, you're going to be okay. Everything is going to be all right. Why do people say, don't worry, everything's going to be all right, when they know that the person is in bad conditions and most probably would die? Why do they lie? When when a wife asks to her husband, "Do I look fat in this dress?" Is it a good idea to say, "Yes, you look very fat. Go and change," or say, "No, darling, you look precious. You are nice. You may try a different color though." Why do people lie in those cases? Maybe because they don't want to hurt their feelings. Maybe they don't want to make them feel bad. Sometimes, in order to maintain your relationship and to be in good terms, you have to lie. It's not that you lie because you like to lie, or because you're selfish or you don't care. It's because you care about the other person. Or when your grandmother does a very elaborated meal and it's awful, and she asks you, "Is it good? Is it tasty?" What are you gonna say? "No, grandma, it's horrible. Don't cook this ever again. I'm not gonna eat it." Or are you gonna say, "Yeah, that's fine. It was nice. It was delicious." What are you gonna do in those cases? Are you gonna be 100% honest? "No, grandma, your food is horrible."
Fabuti, you want to respond?
Yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, I think, yeah, first of all, I think the when you say that people are polite everywhere, I didn't say that. I said that being polite around the world is a value that is looked at as very important around the world. That doesn't mean every people around the world are polite or are honest or something like that. But being honest or being polite is something that is valued wherever you are. If you are in Mauritania, you are in Argentina, or in other places, being polite is something that people will value. You may be not polite, I might be not polite or something, but being polite is a value that is shared among a lot of people for being very something that is very important as as being honest or something or other thing. Yeah, when it comes to other points, yeah, the point that when you are telling about the example, it is a sad example. You know what? I don't wish anyone to be in a situation like that, where he has a daughter facing death and something like that. But you know what? It is a kind of hope. It isn't about lying in this situation. I hope, yeah, it is a hope that we share of our parent or some when we care about someone who is in a very very difficult situation. We say, yeah, all things are going to go are going to be better, and you will feel better. And we think even though based on what we know about what the doctor has said to us, yeah, we know that is zero chance for him to overcome the situation. But we say, yeah, everything will be good. It is a kind of hope. It isn't. Yeah, I don't take it as a lie.
It
And the
is a
other example
lie.
about I don't think it is lie. When I see when you ask me and I'm running a fever, How do you feel? I will. Yeah, I can. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I feel better. I feel better, and I will hope. Yeah. Even though in my own situation, I'm running a fever of 37, 38 or something like that degrees Celsius. It is a big fever, but I will tell you, I feel good. I don't take it as a lie. I don't take it as a lie.
That's not the
For
example.
me,
The example
the other
was that
example.
your daughter is very ill. She has, for instance, a terminal cancer, and she's about to die. The doctors tell you she's gonna die. There's no hope. There are just a few hours remain, or a few days remain, and she asks you, "Am I going to die, Daddy?" She's asking you a direct question. It's either yes or
Yeah,
no.
I
What
don't.
are you gonna reply?
Yeah, I think it is an extreme situation, and as I said, I don't want to face it, and I don't want the other person to face it either.
And
But
yet it
I think
happens.
when you are telling your daughter, which is in this situation, in situation like that all things are going to be good, I think you are not lying. Yeah, to putting her in a better situation, letting her feel better in that very moment is something that is okay, and I think it is tolerated to lie in situation like that. Yeah,
What?
even
What?
even 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 if I don't consider it as a lie.
Well, but it is a lie.
So
If you know that she's going to die, you know, and you say no, you're not gonna die. You are gonna be fine. You know that she's not gonna be fine. She's gonna
Yeah.
die, and you say yes, you're gonna be. That is the definition of lying.
see, I would take a different approach. I would give a different answer. And again, I agree with the standpoint that none of us should ever be in that situation.
Right.
God forbid.
Yeah.
Okay. But the point is that I think that, and I'll go to a word that Babuti used, and I believe very, very strongly in this word, hope. Hope. I have seen people with terminal diseases that the doctor said they're not going to make it. Okay, I have seen this with my eyes. Okay, and I know some people don't believe in it, but I do. I believe in miracles. Okay, and I think things can happen, and I think there's nothing wrong with. I think for each of us, you need something to continue forward with. You need to have hope. And again, this is a philosophical point. I recognize that not everybody's going to believe it, but most people believe in hope. Most people believe in the future. That's what allows them to move forward even under the most difficult of circumstances, the most challenging of circumstances. Okay, it doesn't mean that you're at least in my situation, it doesn't mean that you're saying to them, giving them a false sense, because to me, hope is not, there's nothing false about hope. Okay. Hope is something that you believe. Okay. It's a belief. Okay. Again, it's something that's intangible. Okay. It's not, you can't touch it. You can't feel it. You can't put it in a box. Okay. But it's something that at least I believe, and I think what Babuti was saying, that's as real as anything that you can touch. Okay. And it's powerful, very powerful. So anyway,
What
we
about
spent
when
a
your
lot of time.
wife asks you, "Am I fat?" Do you say, "I hope not"?
Well, no, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Marriage is another thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have
As
to
long
lie
as
always.
as long as she is my wife, and if she asks me about that, I will say no. And I think, yeah, I'm right, because when you love someone, whatever the shape in it she is or she
Yes.
is, you are fine with that. And
Yes.
but if the other person or other woman ask me about her shape or something like that,
Yeah.
and yeah, being honest with her, something you don't, as you said, you don't want to hurt other people, but when it comes to my wife, I will say, yeah,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
think lying is
I have a
always
question
bad.
for you, Reed.
Well,
But you know what, we say that.
Hey, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
safe. Yeah,
yes.
safe. Did you have a
Yeah,
question? Yeah, go ahead, say safe.
No, I want to comment. You know what, Johnny? The day before yesterday, my girlfriend, she's looked very fat, and she asked me, How do you see me?" I said to her, "No, you are not fat, and you look very good." Because I know that if I told her she is fat, she's going to get angry,
Exactly.
and it is just for compliment. Yeah,
Exactly.
I told
To
her,
make
"No,
it,
you are
to know
good,
her feelings,
but
right? You care about her.
if you
Right?
yes, if you reduce a little bit, it is going to be okay." But I
Right.
told her, I see her height, she's good, but in fact, she's very fat.
Yeah. It's called a white light.
but no, no, but No. But I think no, I'm not. I don't agree with that. If
Okay.
Well,
as long as you in the back of your in your in the back of your mind, you will say of your girlfriend that she is ugly or something like that. I think it is something that is hurting because your relationship will not lasting for a long time because you have you have something that in your mind that isn't good for it is your relationship cannot be lasting, and yeah, it is important to tell her that the first and go and look for other person who might be more interesting for you.
Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's go to Soso. Soso, are you able to speak, Soso?
Hello?
Algeria, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. What do you think about what do you think?
About lying, I don't know. I don't know about. I really disagree 100% about the lying thing. And there are other ways. Um, I have certain rule in my life. It's like it's not what you say; it's how you say it. So when you come, for example, when you about how she dressed, you can say, as Babuti said, you look pretty at everything you wear, or you look pretty in my eyes. That's not lying because this is his view to her, and she will accept it. So it's not lying. You don't need to lie. And as Johnny said, that lying is to preserve relationship. I don't care about that relationship. If you can put yourself in that situation when you lie, you have to lie. Means that I don't means that it's not healthy for me. I don't care about how you think, and this is it. This is the truth. So this is my point of view about lying. I don't. For me, I try my best. I believe that when I used to lie when I used to be kid, and I felt very very bad. Tara said you feel good for others. It doesn't feel to me. It doesn't feel good to me. You feel you can't do anything. It's not that a big lie when you are a kid. When you break something and you hide it, and my mother never. She always she punished me even more if I lied, and and I took decision when I even when I was a teenager to never lie. I just say the truth, whatever it is, and people accepted it, and I don't feel. Sometimes my teacher said, oh, when I do you understand, for example, the lesson, everybody say yes teacher to just to get rid of the teacher, and say no I don't, I didn't understand the lesson. So he start laughing. Oh, I know. You always say what you think. So I don't agree about the lying thing. I don't. So,
Okay.
but
What
I
is
don't tolerate that. Yeah.
yeah? What is the most important principle to you? Yeah,
For me,
of
yeah,
all the principles, what are the things that are most important to you?
my most important thing is, of course, that we all have certain principles, and what is having what we have nowadays. It's changing. People change their principle from what we used to. For example, honesty and, like Rocky said, blah blah blah, honesty and integrity and equality, and we used to hear that a lot, and we don't see it. It because it become like slogan things. People say things and do not apply it. That's why we are not seeing it nowadays, and it's really rare to find these kind of people who still stick with these principles. And they and the people who stick with that principle, they always have troubles. Always, I've experienced that. Always you have troubles, and the people who have negative principle, like as you said before, the end justifies the means. For example, when someone cheat and say no because he was away or because she was away, and just they justify, and because I that love doesn't last too much, so it's time for me to move on with another person. For example, it just they justify the cheating for example, because love doesn't last. So I it doesn't. It's cheating is cheating, lying is lying, and good people suffers a lot, and we can see that the bad, not say the bad people, the people who had who have principles, negative principles, they live in our life. And but in the end, they don't live longer. They will fall in the same trap they've been. So the end, if I know the ending, why would I do the same? Why would I do, for example, one of the movies that I saw about the drug dealers, and I really like the good ending. Like when someone is a mafia and drug dealer, you will end up in jail. You won't flee in a different country, and you live your life. This is not the actual ending. It's not real. I really like the real endings that it will show you and teach you. This is you are a drug dealer. This is your end. You are a liar. This is your end. You are a cheater. This is your end. So at least you will learn something that okay, I'm not going to have the same ending that person had, so I'm not going to do it. I'll stop it from now. I still have a longer life to live, so I can choose to live in integrity from now on. So, for example, for me, the principle that I really, really hold on to it is my identity. My identity is the thing that I will never compromise, and it's very, very important to me. Yeah, this is it.
Okay. Uh, really interesting. Very interesting. And I know from my perspective, from you know, so let me ask you a question because I'm trying to put this.
Yeah,
I'm trying to. So if we think about a person that lives a unprincipled life, they have no principles. They cheat, they lie, they do whatever it is, and they believe that the end justifies the means. Okay, so for that person, I would say that it's almost like a snowball effect. That one thing leads to another thing, that leads to another thing, that leads to another thing, that leads to another thing, right?
yeah, yeah,
And pretty soon you find yourself almost trapped in a situation, without knowing how to get out of it because of those decisions or because of a lack of principles or not having
yeah,
principles. So you could build a foundation that's for the good, okay? And I say for the good, that's my definition of good, okay? For the good, that means that you're honest. I would make the argument that everybody in their life has lied at some point in time, but most people, even if they tell a white lie, they don't feel good about it. They know that it's not right. At least
true.
that's okay.
Yes.
They don't feel comfortable with it. When you start feeling comfortable with lying, in my opinion, there's a problem. Okay, in my opinion, it doesn't mean that people don't do it. Don't get me wrong. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
you mean you're a professional liar? Yeah,
yeah, but I think the point is that most people recognize that it's not a good thing. People do it for whatever reason they do it, but most people, even if it's a white lie, they don't feel comfortable doing it. I don't feel comfortable doing it, even if I know that maybe it makes the other person feel bad. I still don't feel comfortable. Okay, um, so
yeah,
so so the building block approach that you're talking about is basically you could build a foundation that goes from not having principles, or you could build a foundation of life with principles, right?
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. Yeah,
And okay, very nice, and you're right. You said something about it's harder to find in today's society people that you would call principled people. It's hard. And why do you think it's hard? What's the reason why?
because I faced a lot of people. For example, for example, when you try to say something, and it's honest. They say you are a liar, and I say no, I don't. For example, I faced some of things, and it's sorry when I don't when I, for example, it's like some people do not believe you because they used to to be in that environment where all people are liars. So when you say something, for example, truthful, they say no, you are a liar. For example, they put you in that the same circumstance they've lived, and so they say okay, you are a liar. And for example, in internet, for example, when I have faced a lot of my PC problem, and I say it's my PC, I can't take the mic, for example, and say no, it's a trick. You don't want to take the mic, for example. This is a very simple question, very
Right, right.
simple thing. And say no. After I just sometimes I just when my PC doesn't work, I just give up and keep listening. I don't put effort. And when I
Hey, hang on one
well,
second. Hey, yeah, hang on one second. Anna, can you mute your microphone, please? Anna? Okay, go, go. Yeah, if you can
oh,
mute your microphone. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, so.
so when I sometimes I do reboot my PC, I do a lot of efforts to prove that I'm going to take the mic because I'm not a liar. Do not address me with that group. And I used to hear that a lot of it's really serious. In the past, there was a good friend of mine. He is honest, and I used just when he says something, and I said okay. You all the men are liars, and he took it very seriously. Now I'm not a liar. Do not put me in that. And I was saying, okay, I was just joking. What's wrong with him? After that, I faced the same problem,
Hmm.
and people start addressing me. Women are liars. What? You don't know me. You know the
Right, right,
women.
right,
You know
right,
the
right,
woman that lied to you. But don't put that on me.
right,
You don't
right,
know me. Yeah.
right.
So I faced a lot of problems in, for example, in workplace. When you say something, I was sick. I was ill. I couldn't join, and say no. You are just doing that in purpose. Why would I do that? So
Hmm.
people who live in circumstances like that, they stop believing in other people, and this is bad.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, so. Thank you. Let's try. Let's try to. We have four more people. I want to try and make sure everybody gets a chance. So let's go to Kurti. Kurti, what would you like to say?
Yeah, I want to say that in my opinion, my principle is first is character. Any circumstance, I cannot lose my character. So first importance is my character, and I know that if I lose my character, means I lost everything. And the second thing is my health. So any circumstance, I cannot lose my health.
Hmm.
And third, my principle is time. I always use the maximum time. Means I know that my life is very fixed life, like that. I will alive like 70 years or
Hmm.
60 years.
Hmm.
So anytime if I do the work, okay. So I'm more conscious about my time
Hmm.
and my time and my colleagues' time also. Okay. In working time, if I know something, then I just share all these things to other colleagues, so they don't waste the time to do the same thing again.
Hmm.
So it's means I think the time is very good thing, and so it's my opinion.
Okay, I have a question for you, and don't get mad. Don't get mad. Okay. Earlier, so you just said that for you, your principles relate to your character. So I'm going to ask you a question. You said when you go for a job interview, say reflects on your character.
Yeah, character means that I know that I can do this job. Okay, because everyone is not learn from her mother. Okay, everyone can when do the job, then he learn. Okay, so I know that
Okay.
100%
Okay.
know that I can do this job. Okay, but I know that too many people. Okay, and the vacancy is only one. So
Right.
how can I get the job? So okay,
Okay.
so I know that 90% I'm okay, and 10% because you know that everything I cannot know. Okay, so if I want to job, then I do my best. Okay, and I'll finally I can say that I can do this job like that.
Okay. So let me. Okay. And everyone is in a different situation. I can't tell you, how you should feel about something or not feel. Okay. But let me give you, if I am the one that's gonna hire you, let's pretend that you're living in Tunisia, or whether you're living in Iran, or whether you're living in Argentina or Venezuela or Colombia, most people would say that honesty is an important value. Most people would say that. Okay, not just a group of people in Ventura, California, or a group of Christians, or a group of whoever.
Yeah, but
Okay, most
you are
people.
pointing out specific values, and that's what I'm trying to get to. You cannot point out to one specific value and say that if that person doesn't have that specific value, that person doesn't have any other value. That's where you are mistaken, I think.
Most people here would probably agree with what I just said. Okay, and we have Christians, Muslims, atheists. Okay, we have people that are brown, black. Okay, whatever, white. Okay, and most people would probably
Yeah,
agree
I
with the
raised my
same.
hand.
Okay, most people would probably agree with that. Now, not everybody would. I agree with you, Johnny. Not everybody's going to agree with
Sorry,
that.
excuse me. Can I say something?
Yes.
I want to say a comment about values and principles. I think principles are the self beliefs, but I think the values are a standard criteria for evaluating the principles.
Okay.
So, values are most acceptable for many people around the world.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, but principles may be changed according to the self benefits.
Okay.
I think principles cannot be changed, but values can be changed because we live in
Yeah.
different countries,
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
different values. But principle, you see, it's a way of life, it's a style of life. This is you hold into it until until you die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until
Our
you change
principles are
yourself, right?
Well, our principles. Remember, what's the definition of these? A set of principles are a set of rules, right, that we follow. They guide our behavior or guide certain things, right? So that's what principles are. Okay. Values are a little bit more specific, and they are related, but they're not exactly the same thing. Okay. Right. So
Yeah.
I would agree that our value system may change based upon our circumstances. You may hold a certain value that you shouldn't steal but maybe you're in a circumstance where you lose your job, you don't have any money, and you have children to take care of. So you do what you do despite your value. Okay. Now you still might have that value. That's the difference. You can still, but maybe you violate that value because of the circumstances. It goes back to something Kurti was saying: the ends justify the means. So in that situation, if your number one priority is to feed your children, you'll do what you have to do to feed your children, right? That's any parent would do that, right? Or you would do what you need to do to take care of your family. That's just human nature. Okay, you may still hold that value. You still may have those principles, but it's like the lying thing. Okay, you may violate the principle. Again, I personally don't feel good if I say something that is not true. I have a physical reaction. I don't feel good. Okay, that's how I know it's not right. Okay, that's how I know it's not right. Now I could justify it by saying, well, I'm making this person feel better by doing that, but I still don't feel right even if I say that to myself. Okay, so that's how I know. That's how Rick knows. And again, we're all different. We all have different ways of looking at it. Let's go, because I have to actually take off here in a few minutes. Let's go with Tara. Tara, who agrees with Johnny. So Tara, tell us what you think about this. Tara, are you here?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
so please share your knowledge with us. Okay, come on.
Okay, I will maybe just add something to what Johnny said.
Uh-huh.
I agree with him totally. I think our value and interest, all that, our belief in general, uh, it is different, an individual to another one. So it is based on how we see the world, how we look at the life, our life. So we can say there are many. Hello,
Hmm. Hmm. Go
hello.
ahead.
There are some basic principles we do all share. For example, uh, we all know that killing is bad. We all know that honesty is a good thing, but we do have some differences in that. For example, we think honesty is not always good things, and killing it is bad, but sometimes killing I'm not with killing, but sometimes some people has to die. For example, Osama bin Laden, and I don't want to go to details, but
Self-defense.
I think, yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah, so killing isn't it bad? You can say it's 100% is bad. So there are no basic things. Everything is
Relative.
low.
Well, it's okay. So Tara, you're saying that um, there are circumstances in which any principle could be. Uh, I'm trying to make sure. So you're saying that principles are important, but there are circumstances that require us to violate those principles, right? Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, I got disconnected.
No, you're saying that principles are important, but there are circumstances that may require us to violate those principles, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me tell you another example. In my country,
Uh-huh.
kissing a girl in public is not allowed. It is forbidden. It is taboo.
Hmm.
But beating a girl in public, it is totally not okay. It's okay. Well, not by government or by law, but other peoples, they will think, oh, that's not a good girl. That's not a good woman. That's why her husband is beating her. So it is kind of okay things. But see how people look at it.
Right,
It
right,
is big
right.
on circumstances, not environment.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But that's not principle, Tara. That's abuse. So it's not a principle. Do you think that abusing is a
Yeah,
principle?
but there are,
Can
believe
we
me,
put it
there.
in a principle in religion?
Okay, let me tell you something. I know good people who actually think that it's not a bad thing. I know they think it is not a bad
It is
thing
not
to.
a bad thing. It is not. It is
Yeah,
a bad thing. It is a bad thing. Abusing is a
okay,
bad thing.
but everybody is not educated. They don't know. Uh,
Yeah, that's the point, Tara. Not because everybody is doing bad, you have to agree with that. You have to say no, that's bad. You cannot justify abusing. That's not a killing. It's not justified.
And I
what
Yeah.
think,
about self-defense? What about self-defense?
well,
What
well,
about
Well, self-defense
there were a
is
guy
something, but killing is
I
something else. Self-defense is called self-defense. But when you say killing someone, means you kill
okay,
them intentionally.
okay, let me give you another example. A while ago, I think it was in India, 8 year girl, she was bankrupted by 13 guys. And what do you think law should do with these guys, in your opinion?
this is the law. This is, I don't know, but principle is when you hold it, you say, even you can't change it, but you say, no, that's wrong. This is wrong. You have to say it. You speak up. Like it is wrong. You shouldn't say, I don't know. This is not because
Tell
everybody
me
is
your view about
bad.
that law. You think it is it right or wrong?
It is wrong, but you have to speak up.
I think if you don't mind, I think the point that Soso is trying to make, Tara, and I'm again, this is we're expressing our opinion. Okay, that's all this is. Okay, so I think the point, the situation you gave, Tara, the example you gave about how a boy and a girl kissing in public is not good. It's looked at in a very negative way, but a man beating a woman, uh, people are gonna maybe not be okay with it, but they're not gonna say something against it, maybe. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so I would agree. I would agree that that is obviously. I think most people would say, from a principle standpoint, that's not right. That's wrong. Okay, that's just black and white wrong. Okay, and most people say they say that based upon human decency, mutual respect, respecting each other. Okay, so most people would say now again, does that mean that we should forget our principles because we see other people doing? No, that's exactly the point I think Social is making. That makes it even more important to
Yeah,
find
that's
out.
examine. Yeah, that's examine your principle if you hold it or not. If you just shut up, you means you are okay. If you speak up, means you are against it. You
Yeah,
hold your principle. Yeah.
it's like that movie. It's
Okay, it
like
is
that.
not my fault. I lived here, for example, for 30 years. It is natural to think in this way.
Yeah, no, and we are, and this goes back to Tara. This goes back to what we were talking about yesterday a little bit, right? When you and I were talking before the others joined us. Uh, the environment we live in has a lot to do with the way we look at things. It does. Um, and it just means that sometimes we have to step outside of our environment, get another perspective, meet people that think a different way. The more
Yes, we talked about the
Yeah,
certain age. We need to, yeah.
exactly. I mean, that's why knowledge, the most important weapon in the world is not a nuclear bomb, it's not a chemical gas, it's knowledge. That's the most important weapon in the world. When you give people knowledge, you empower them to think for themselves, to make their own decisions about their life choices. Okay, about the environment. Okay, the most important weapon in the world, from my perspective, is knowledge. Okay, so
I disagree.
when you live in a closed society and that's what you grew up in, that's what your family looks at, that's how that local society looks at things. It can be, and it's not just in your country. I told you yesterday, I could go here. Let me give you guys one example. Okay, I'm gonna give you one example. And some of you have heard this before. So an ex-girlfriend I had, she was kind of dark complected. She was from Venezuela, and so she had a dark complexion. Okay, and there are people in my country that are racist. Okay, there are. Okay, it exists. Okay, so she and I remember we were going to a small town in the middle of the country, and she's dark, I'm white. Okay, we were walking together, and people were like staring at us. Okay, like giving us these weird looks, strange looks. Okay, because most of them, there weren't any other people. They were all white. Okay, they all looked like me. Okay, so they lived in kind of a closed society. Okay, that's what they were used to seeing. That's what they used to being around. They weren't used to seeing a white guy and a dark girl together. Okay, um, and that was only a few years ago. That wasn't that long ago. Okay, so my point is that even today in 2018, there are groups of people that live in these what I'll call closed societies where there's not a lot of diversity. There's not a lot of different mixtures of religious groups, okay, or other things. And that can have a big impact on us. And I just think that we have to grow our knowledge and learn more. There are people that think because you follow a certain faith, that it makes you a certain way. I okay. Anyway, we just have to be more open-minded about our life and experiences we have. Okay, that's the point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, just 1 minute, Richard, because you gave a good example. Uh, the people are staring at you. It's a group. So, did you let them define your principles? You didn't. Not because of them you broke up with her. Not because of that look you broke up with her. You believed in your principle that is racism, and you keep holding to it.
yeah,
This is
yes.
this is yeah. This is the point, Tara. When certain group following certain things, and you know it's bad, you don't give them a justification that is this is their principle. That is not racism,
Okay,
abusing.
let
It's
me.
not. We don't
Mhm.
put it in a principle corner. Yeah.
Okay, let me reply to that. Rick was educated, but not everybody has this knowledge. The problem is the majority have a lack of knowledge. That's the problem.
And then I have to say something. Then I have to go. Let me give you two examples. Yesterday, I was helping somebody, one of our members that lives in Algeria, and she applied for a program, and I was reviewing her personal statement and some essays that she had written. And in her essay, she had written about the in Algeria, she joined, I think it's called the National Group of Literacy or something. So. But anyway, what she did while she was in university, she set up and she lives in a rural area in a village. She set up a program to help the illiterate women learn how to read. And with the
Yeah.
idea that they can improve their social standing by becoming literate. Okay. That was one example. This morning, I was talking to somebody from Egypt that's also a member of our group, and she's going to do her PhD. She finished her master's, now she's going to do her PhD. And I was reviewing some of the material that she was providing to get a scholarship. She wants to come study here in the U.S. For a scholarship, and she talked about how in Egypt she formed a group of people, again, to work with particularly women and men, but particularly women in rural areas to help them become more, literate and gain these skills and share, information with them so they become how do I say it? They're able to think for themselves, communicate for themselves, and if necessary, even gain employment and be able to have an income for themselves. Okay, so the point is that I understand where you're coming from, Tara. There are places in the world today, okay, around the world, okay, where people don't have an education, where people follow culture or not culture, but tradition, okay, and it's hard. It's hard if you're growing up in that kind of environment. It's not easy. And for those like me and many other people that did not grow up in that environment, we can't even begin to understand it. I can't understand your situation because I don't live in your situation, right?
Yeah, I understand. Well, I was talking in generally, not only for my country.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But I
yeah.
think yeah, I think that's why
I,
education is so important.
yes, I agree with you.
Okay.
We have to start from grade one.
Yep. So let me go ahead because I have to go. I just want to quickly give my view on this topic. Then you guys can continue, Johnny. If you guys want to continue talking, I have a commitment I have to go to. So let me talk about the point here. First of all, I do believe that there are universal principles that apply to the majority of people around the world. Again, regardless of your you know, ethnicity, et cetera, et cetera. I think there are. And I think most people would agree on those universal principles. Okay. I think most would. Just based upon my traveling and, I've been to what, 36 countries now and just based upon my life experience, I think most people would agree with those principles. Okay. Two, um, to me, there are three, four, maybe five or six general things I think are really important. I'm just going to give a quick summary. Okay. Everybody in this world has value. Everybody has value. That means that whether you are homeless, living on a street, or whether you own your own company and have your own airplane, everybody has value. Okay. It doesn't matter your circumstances. It doesn't matter your education level. It doesn't matter. Everybody in this world has value. Okay. And therefore, we should treat all people with the same respect, regardless of even if we don't like them. Okay. Now there are special circumstances. Okay, where I would not respect somebody. Okay, there are special circumstances. Maybe a criminal I would not respect. Okay, a drug pusher I would not respect. But in general, I try to respect people because I think it's important. Okay, in general. The other thing I think is that making commitments. When we say we're going to do something, we should do it. Now, we recognize that things come up. Life happens, okay? But making a commitment and following through on commitment as much as we can, we should do. That to me is a principle that's important, okay? Taking responsibility for our life, okay? We make good decisions, we make bad decisions, but ultimately we are responsible for the consequences of those decisions. So taking responsibility for our life, good and bad, to me is a principle that's important. Looking at things in terms of hope. I'm a big believer in positive attitudes. I'm a big believer that positive attitudes bring positive results. I'm not saying that we should not be realistic. I'm saying, though, that I believe that hope and positive thinking are extremely important to achieve things in our life. I really, 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 really believe that. The last thing I would say is I think that giving, we should give more than we take. Okay. Now people say, well, but if you give more than you take, then how can you give, right? Okay. Because I believe that by giving, something is returned. It may not be money. It may not be something you can hold in your hand. But I think that if we spent more time giving than taking, okay, we collectively would be better off. And I think it's something that's important. So not everybody's in a situation to do that. Completely get that. Completely. Not everybody has the time. Not everybody has the resources. But in general, we should put more emphasis on giving than taking. Okay, just in general. Okay. So those are the things, some of the principles I think that are important. There's a lot more, and I believe that, again, principles are extremely important to give us some kind of guidance in life. All of us face, different challenges, but that's my belief, okay? So Saif is doing a bunch of pictures. I don't know why, okay? So Johnny, I have to go. If you guys want to continue, that's fine. I'll go ahead and disconnect from the call now. And yeah, Matthew didn't speak. I think he did not get a chance to speak. So if you guys want to continue, that's fine. But I do have to go now. So I'll go ahead and disconnect from the call. And for all of you, good discussion. We heard a lot of feedback. I thought it was very interesting what everybody said. So we'll talk to you guys soon, okay? Like I said, I have to